Hi guys, my name is Jared Knight. I am the co-host of the Dialectic duo, and what I want to discuss with you is the quintessence of this podcast. I've noticed that in our society that there is an absence of a social dialectic, which has in part bred a lot of resentment on both sides, and a lot of echo chambers and just ceaseless shouting and ad hominem. And what we want to do with the Dialectic duo is we want to get past all that. We want to dig deeper into these conversations as to what we are, what we should be, and essentially, we just want to say what's real, unabashed, unafraid, undaunted. And that is worth the world because whether you know it or not, ideas have changed society before and they will again, independent of our actions. So we want to be a part of that process. We want to be at the forefront of that. And that is what the Dialectic duo is.
So before we started our research, what did you think love was?
Love is so multifaceted that it's hard to define in just one term. In fact, if you look at it, I know that you were asking me about before the research, but if you actually look at the actual definition of love, it has so many definitions because it's applicable in so many different circumstances. But I think it's basically a deep empathy, a deep sort of altruistic empathy for another person or a thing. It doesn't have to necessarily be a person.
Yeah.
To the point where you want what's best for it, even if it's not what's best for you.
Yeah.
That's what I think real love is.
Dude, I agree wholeheartely. Before we started doing this research, I thought like love was. I came into the world religiously, so love was something I've been around my entire life. Like my parents would we always say I love you at the end of every conversation. I catch myself saying it to like coworkers by an accident just because I'm so used to it.
Teachers sometimes.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But no, those were always Freudian slips.
Yeah.
But no, love for me was it's. As I get older, the definition changes for me, and it's less than just a definition and more than, I know love when I see it, like a true action or thing someone does is like I know love when I see it, like but it really shows forth when people sacrifice, like when parents sacrifice for their kids or man or someone sacrifices for their man or for their boyfriend or girlfriend. And that's where I see love spring forth the most, when it's the hardest to do it. Like you said, when it's not when your best interest isn't there. That's where I see that's when I see love. At that point.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree. I think that action proves intent. So love is not something that is just professed. It's something that you can see in action.
Yeah.
Like I saw it based on. I've seen it quite a few times. I've loved people before, obviously. Like, I'm
That's
not
good.
a sociopath.
That's
at
good.
least not as far as I know. But I've loved people before, but I've never been in love.
In love.
No. I've always been an outsider looking in. And I think that's given me more clarity than someone who's actually, whose definition of love is based on, the love that they're experiencing at that point in time. You're subjected, you're emotionally compromised, so to speak. So because you're emotionally compromised, you're not seeing things clearly.
Oh yeah, I understand that. People in the honeymoon phase, they get all hopped up on emotion. They get
blindsided,
and then they don't see all these red flags. Yeah, like a friend of mine. Oh God, friend of mine. He was in love with this girl, but it was very obvious she didn't care much for him.
Well, that's part of his infatuation. To begin with, people want what they can't have. Got news for you.
God, I hope that's not it.
Oh, that's absolutely it. Like that is like what it is. Like seriously, that's how wealth is accrued in our economic system. It's if you can't have something, if it's scarce, it's more valuable. So people are engineered to want what they can't have. That's why guys are so attracted to women they believe are out of their league. Which I don't even believe in leagues, but people believe, once they believe she's out of my league, I have to have her. And then when you have her, you might get bored with her, whatever, whatever happens afterwards is a completely different story. But people absolutely want what they can't have. That's why men make the mistake way too often, making themselves too available to the women that they like.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes the women that they like sort of, repulsed by them. Because they're like, this nigga's too available. It's just like, it's, it's too easy.
No, yeah.
People like a little
that mistake
difficulty.
way too many times.
People like a little bit of difficulty. We've all made that mistake. That's a
part of
it's
growing
just,
up.
It's really just how long do you keep making that mistake? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's like when do you realize that? Oh, maybe you should have some self-respect.
That people are kind of complicated and contradictory in so many different ways because they usually do what's easiest, but sometimes they seek what's harder. Sometimes.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Human beings are. It depends on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to love, when it comes to infatuation, when it comes to liking a person, they'll seek what's harder because it's more enticing. But when it comes to their personal life, they typically just do what's
safe.
They do what's safe and what's easy. Normal.
Mm-hmm.
What's become normalized by repetition.
Yeah, society.
So
okay, interesting. Dude, love. What is love? Well, what were some of the things that you looked up about love? I'd love to hear it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It is cringy.
I'd love it if you didn't make that comment.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I'd love to stop. But I can't.
Alright.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, I was interested in the scientific aspect of love.
Okay.
Because to me, I've seen people in love, but I don't know what causes it. I don't know what perpetuates it. And to me, what I found out really early in my research, and I figured this out, and then I figured out that it was corroborated by scientific,
Wait, so you're saying you figured out something?
I figured out something on my own, and then later found out it was corroborated by, psychologists.
Oh, so yeah, please tell me what that is.
First off, love is the penultimate motivation for all of human action.
Okay, penultimate. What is this penultimate for because the norm? See, I'm not the normal one. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. I am the average one.
No, that's a synonym.
Jared, you are definitely the above average intellectual in the room.
You're not average.
But what does penultimate mean?
Penultimate means second to the ultimate.
Oh.
So yeah. So it's the second most important motivator for everything that we do. Love is. It's a pervasive element throughout art, throughout human achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somebody achieves something like, because they're in love with this girl, or they achieve something because they want to get back at this girl, because unrequited love is another thing. But basically love is the penultimate, motivation for all of human action. Yeah. So in order to understand us, you have to at least understand it. Maybe not on a chemical level like I now do because of the research. Yeah. But you have to understand it at least somewhat. Because if you don't, you're going to fall short of understanding human beings.
Interesting. So what? Yeah. So tell me some of these chemical, the chemical love that's inside of us.
Well, all right. Initially, the brain is flushed with dopamine and norepinephrine.
I love dopamine. God.
We all do. We all get it from different ways. I mean, like, there's so many different conduits to dopamine that it's ridiculous. Matter of fact, a lot of people are addicted to it. That's what gambling addiction is.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Interestingly enough. Okay. Gambling addiction, all kinds of things. But the brain becomes flushed with dopamine and norepinephrine. And this causes, the dopamine is responsible for the feeling of pleasure. And the norepinephrine works like adrenaline. It increases heart rate, blood flow, and it causes excitement.
What was that one called?
Norepinephrine.
Norepinephrine?
Yeah, norepinephrine.
Norepinephrine.
Yeah, medical terms are in Latin. How about that?
Gotta love that.
But together they produce elation, intense energy, sleeplessness, craving, loss of appetite, and focused attention. It sounds like a drug.
Yeah,
sounds like something you get over the counter.
Yeah, it sounds.
Side effects may include.
Do not give me that love-ish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Side effects may include produced elation. Elation, intense energy, sleeplessness, craving, loss of appetite. Yeah, if this was a over-the-counter drug, would you buy it?
Love? Nah. I mean, like, nah. Loss of appetite? Awesome. Nah, dude. I keep the appetite. I need that appetite.
But yeah. According to Helen Fisher, love actually changes over time. That's the.
What do you mean? I don't want to say.
Love changes. It doesn't stay stagnant. It's not consistently, caused by dopamine and norepinephrine. during the initial infatuation and honeymoon stages, that's when the mind is flush with those, chemicals.
Can you give me an example, like, just give me a hypothetical of how give me a hypothetical of how the chemicals change over time.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so first off, I think the most paramount example for, a rush of dopamine and norepinephrine is really early on into a relationship. So when, like, on the second date or the first date, when you realize that you have this connection with this person, you become fixated on them. Your attention is sort of averted from, all the other things that you could be doing, could produce, elation, just constant sort of like obsession.
Your head over heels for them. You got the butterflies and stuff.
After about 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah, after about 2 to 3 years, those feelings actually sort of, they sort of taper off.
They taper. Oh wow.
And they're replaced by, two chemicals, vasopressin and oxytocin.
I know. Okay, so I've heard of oxytocin. What's vasopressin?
Vasopressin and oxytocin work sort of in tandem. They interfere with the dopamine and norepinephrine pathways. So it's not that you no longer have dopamine and norepinephrine. It's that the vasopressin and oxytocin change, or they interfere with the pathways, so they can't be received.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they get blocked off.
They get blocked off. They get blocked off. And that's why the passionate love that you have at the beginning of the relationship, the one that people chase, the one that people are so infatuated with, it dies or changes. If you want to be a romantic, you could say it changes. If you want to be a realist, it dies. But
wow. That's so sweet of you, but it's real, and that's what we like here, the Dialectic.
Yeah, I think it dies. But it also, like I said, there's a case to be made for both. I'm not going to, be dogmatic about it. And then there's endorphins. Endorphins are released and received, and they basically make you feel safe and relaxed. Okay. That's their role in the romantic process. Okay. And if you know anything about psychology, in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right above the physiological needs, which is, what we need to survive, is a feeling of safety. Mm-hmm. So if both your feelings of safety, love, and belonging are both met by this partner, you're deeply entrenched into, that relationship. Wow. So it sort of works on a biological level to sort of, really tuck you in or really, ensnare you in this in this relationship.
Biologically, you're saying if I'm with someone for 5 years, chemically at this point, I'm connected to this person.
You are. Yes, the vasopressin and oxytocin. Or, the vasopressin and oxytocin, and you personally have failed to make that sort of long-term connection, and you're just sticking around. Because so often, people just stick around. Because they do, what's easiest. Instead of actually just saying to another person, hey, I don't think I love you anymore. People don't have the courage. They don't have the courage or resolve to do that. So.
Thing is, and that's what I think. I think that's where true love comes in, where it's like, do I love this person enough to be honest with them, to tell them that no, I no longer have feelings for you. I feel like
if you no longer have feelings for them, then you don't love them. So. That's
all right. So excuse me. I think it's what I mean. True love, I'm saying is like I think true love for that person's feelings, for that person's future mental health, right? I think it'd be better to tell them now that listen, I don't know what changed. It was probably chemical, so that's a really great way to get away with it, right? It was a chemical change, but that's what. But the thing is, I think at the end of the day, it's true love is really being honest. It's like even when it hurts,
If you're in 5 years, there's no getting away with it. Like
I'm messing around.
It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be like.
Oh no, it's gonna be extremely painful.
Yeah.
Like
it's gonna be like waxing your gooch painful. Like
that's bare. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. You get that image in your head.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, they did there was research into voles because voles are voles are a monogamous sort of mammalian species. Mammalian.
Okay.
Yeah, they are a monogamous mammalian species. Points for alliteration. In any case, but basically, they did research into 2 different types of voles. They were trying to figure out exactly what made one species of vole monogamous and one species of vole, not so much. And they found out that the voles that were monogamous had receptors that the other voles didn't. They had vasopressin and oxytocin receptors.
Oh.
So those chemicals actually do make voles want to spend time with each other. They make the voles actually, entrenched in the long run as far as love is concerned. So the long-term love is a chemical response. It's not something that actually happens based on, something we desire.
Whoa.
It's chemicals.
So are you saying there's a case to be made that people who engage in monogamous relationships gain chemical.
They have more receptors.
Yeah, they gain chemical receptors. They have more receptors, or you could say, or have a higher chance of being. Well, those receptors. Would you say they produce like good feelings?
They allow the vasopressin and oxytocin to actually enter the bloodstream. So without those without those receptors, the chemicals very much exist, but they don't have any sort of. They have no outlet. They have no way to reach you. So the other voles had vasopressin and oxytocin, but they couldn't get it into their bloodstream.
So there's a case to be made that if you engage in a monogamous relationship, you may have a better pathway to better mental health. Or the thing is because they're in this monogamous relationship, they are together opening up pathways in their brain that would not be there without the monogamous relationship.
Well, what's interesting is that the human brain is infinitely more complex than voles.
True.
And
probably.
And because of our because we've weeded out sort of natural selection in a way, there's more variation than there otherwise would be.
What do you mean?
Okay, so because natural selection, we don't just let the weak die anymore.
Okay.
We kind of carry them with them. So the gene pool is more diversified because of that. There's so many different mutations because we don't let any of them die.
Wow.
So because of that, the human genome is more varied than most species would be.
Interesting.
And because of that, some people have more, receptors for vasopressin and oxytocin than others.
Wow.
So some people are more, let's see, what's the word? They're more inclined, but that's not even susceptible and inclined. Though both of them work. But let's see, and some people have a greater propensity. That's the word.
Okay. Yeah.
Some people have a greater propensity towards monogamy than others.
Interesting.
And we don't know who those people are. so just hope just roll the dice.
Just kind of roll the dice with that. We'll see what happens.
That's basically
that actually is a great segue into what I am bringing to the table.
Punch it, Mr. Silver.
So I decided to look at love from more of a philosophical point of view, I guess you could say. Now, big words.
No, it's not. No, it's just I like how we approach this from different perspectives.
Yeah, no, dude, because there's so many different issues and so many different ways to look at it. 5
different types of love. We're focusing on romantic, obviously.
So, for me, I've got some stuff on the internet. I will put up.
Absolutely.
So let's do it like this. So, I figured I would start with, I'm a Christian man. I'll start with my religious background. So, what's the big one? The big one that, okay, so these are like verses from the Bible or whatever, about love. This is 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. It says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, and it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered and keeps no records of wrongs. And the thing is like
Sure about that last one?
No, this is what the Bible says love is. This is I don't think modern day is how we view love, but that's definitely what the Bible says.
I think love keeps a rap sheet.
What?
I think love keeps a rap sheet.
I could definitely.
Love knows all the shit you did last summer. And the summers before that.
Yeah, right. I mean,
love may forgive, but I don't think it forgets.
I would say according to the Bible, if you're keeping wrongs, it's not very lovely.
I think what it is, I think that love, Here's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that love is like wabi sabi. It's like this. Okay, wabi sabi is this interesting concept that there's beauty in flaws and cracks and mistakes and things like that. And I think that love, like Hemingway said, grows strong in broken places.
Interesting.
So it's not so much that love is invincible. It's just that love is pliable and adaptable and also has the ability to endure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes it dies.
So
some loves, stronger loves.
Would you say that the thing is what I love about my family and how we go about our business is that even if we do each other wrong on purpose or by accident, we're quick to forgive each other, and we put it out of our mind on the hurt or because as long as the person came, as long as we came to each other and admitted it and asked and said sorry and stuff like that, we forgive each other real quick. But if you're holding grudges well past the time of the incident and all that stuff, I don't think it's true love to keep that in and not talk about it. Because if you're holding a grudge, it's most likely because you didn't get to say something in the argument or whatever. And you know how you walk away from arguments mumbling and all that stuff.
Figuring out the perfect comeback line 2 days later.
Exactly.
Like, if I only would have said that.
I know. I wish I would have said that. And it happens when I talk about ball. It happens all the time. But I just think that holding grudges, it is no way to show love to someone that you're in a relationship with.
To me, it's about intent. I think it all goes back to intent. I think that's the most important thing because we as human beings control our intent, but we don't control how our actions, impact the world around us.
True.
So a person's intentions matter more than their actions, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because like I said, you have no idea. Nobody knows how things are going to turn out. Nobody knows how your actions impact the world. All you can do is control what you intend your actions to do and operate on that basis.
Yeah.
Now you can use empirical evidence to figure out what will likely happen based on your actions, but that's not definitive. It's not this going to happen this way because it happened that way before. It's likely to happen this way.
True.
So to me, as long as the person intended no harm, to me I'm much quicker to forgive them. However, if they did intend harm, I'm going to remember that. Even if I forgive them, I'm going to remember.
Yeah, you're not going to forget.
Like Jay-Z said, you see the snakes in the grass, and you wait on their ass. So, I mean, that's what you do.
That was cute. All right, let me go to the next verse. All right, 1 John 3:16. This is how we know what love is. Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. I love this verse just because it's... it just it speaks about what I was talking about earlier, sacrifice. When someone sacrifices for you, it's like it's really nice. It's like you really feel like this person's got your back, But unfortunately, what I see a lot happening now is a lot of young parents who may not understand this concept of sacrificing as a way of love. And I feel like I see a lot of like unfortunately young single parents even maybe not being able to but not going out of their way to sacrifice their lifestyle or whatever for their new kids. And I think it's super detrimental because you got a bunch of kids growing up in environments that are subpar, we'll just say. And I think it could be mitigated by parents sacrificing their expedient pleasures for their kids' future.
I think sacrifice is it's an interesting theme, and I think it's the best way to demonstrate love because human beings inherently look out for their own self-interest. And that's our sort of prime directive, at least naturally. Now, when I say self, don't think that I mean just one's own self. I mean, because sometimes people see communities as extensions of themselves. Like some people see a tribe or an ethnicity or a nation sometimes, or even an empire as an extension of themselves. So when you see someone, sacrifice themselves and their own self-interest for your sake, it's either love or they consider you to be an extension of themselves, like a parent sees a child.
Okay.
So I think that's the best way, demonstratively speaking, that's the best way to show love, in my opinion, is sacrifice. If you're willing to sacrifice your own self-interest, then clearly, yeah.
Okay.
But action is very important. But
yeah.
Intent is more important.
Intent is paramount.
But yes, it is. Yeah. But action proves intent, though.
Action proves
sacrifice proves that you actually love a person. See what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. So.
All right. So now this is the last thing I looked up is this article by Deborah Anapol. She's a PhD. Let me pull up her who she is. Deborah Anapol was an American clinical psychologist and one of the founders of the polyamory movement. Do you know what the polyamory movement is?
Yes.
Yeah. It's sex with multiple and different partners, right? You love everybody, basically. Okay. Which started in the 80s. She's known for her work in the erotic spirituality, eco-sex, neo-tantra, right?
What's eco-sex?
And pelvic heart integration. Eco-sex? I actually am kind of curious what eco-sex is.
Yeah, what is that?
What is eco-sex? Real quick. What is eco-sex? Oh, boy.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, my God. Eco from
Don't tell me somebody humping the dirt.
A person that finds nature romantic, sensual, and sexy.
Oh, God.
Okay. I mean, to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Anyways, so, what's her face? Deborah, she also, her, you see her different type of view, and her different view, which is fine. It's a safe place. Anyone can have any view they want.
Absolutely.
Here, and there's no judgment. I just want to know. I just want to be able to talk. I just want to talk to you and talk to her, talk to me.
We won't be judging the person.
Exactly.
We have respect for the people, not necessarily every idea.
Absolutely.
Not every idea is worthy of respect. But
I agree.
The people who bring these ideas, they're worthy of respect, because we don't agree on everything.
No.
I don't even, truth be told, this is going to be real right now.
Oh, I can't wait.
I don't even find all of your positions to be respectable, but I respect you. That's the difference.
Thank you.
So just because I don't respect all of your opinions doesn't mean I don't respect the individual.
I
think that's what we do here.
That's exactly what we do here.
Because some ideas are utterly vacuous and need to be dismissed. However, you should not be allowed to say. You should not be afraid to say them. You should be undaunted.
Yes.
It should be an environment where you can say anything.
Yes.
However, if you say some bullshit,
I'm gonna call it out.
Prepare to get dismissed.
Okay. So I just grabbed a couple things from her, from her article. One can buy loyalty, companionship, attention, and perhaps even compassion, but love itself cannot be bought. And even though I may disagree with how she views love, from a broad sense, definitely right here. Yeah, dude, you could buy a prostitute. That's easy, but no one's gonna love you if they you can't force love. You can't force someone to feel something for you that they don't. And I think a lot of single young men need to hear that.
No, you can't force love, but you could totally manipulate it.
I mean, you can, but is it actually gonna last? Is it a love that's you could ask Robert Kelly. Is it gonna last?
Robert Kelly, you're using his government name. Jesus.
Yo, he is not R. Kelly anymore. He is a pedophile. He needs to be thrown in jail.
He can be both R. Kelly and a pedophile. Look, that's
nah. See, I bangs are R. Kelly, not Robert. Robert needs to go to jail.
How about I live in a world where he can make good music and go to prison. Like
that's true.
We don't have to choose. Like
I mean,
we can,
we should choose not to
we
listen.
could play, remix to Ignition at the trial. Like I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
All right, so yeah, man. Okay, then let's see. All right. Love cannot be turned on as a reward. It cannot be turned off as a punishment. It's along the same lines.
Yeah.
But this one I love the most. Love speaks out for justice and protects when harm is being done. Love points out the consequences of hurting oneself or others. And
I don't know. Like I think that love, like so many things in this world, like art, like cinema, like everything, it manifests itself in different ways. When she said love speaks out against, against when harm is done, I thought to myself, actually, when I've heard people, dissuade me or attempt to dissuade me from speaking, the truth because they love me, they wanted to protect me more than they wanted to actually, So it's more like love can manifest itself in many different ways, and once you have this sort of monotonous or not monotonous, when you have this sort of monotonous opinion of what love is, I think that's when you steered wrong, because it can be manifested in many ways.
It can be. It can be manifested in many ways, but that's what's scary though, is because in the moment someone can feel like, oh, my love for you is here to protect you. But that love in the same moment could be hurting the person in the future.
Absolutely.
By overprotecting them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like you love them so much.
Protecting them from something they may need to hear.
Exactly. Like you and I both know that we have people in our lives that just need to hear something. And is it, you and I both know that we have people in our lives that need to hear something and that need to hear the truth. But is it love telling them the hard truth, or is that not love
to keep the truth away from them?
Exactly.
And to me, it's both. Like I think what you presented, at least in part, is a false dilemma. The truth is that love can be both. Love can be incorrect. It could be correct. It, like I said, it manifests itself in so many different ways that one can't be dogmatic with what it is and what it isn't. Like, one person does not have a monopoly on love, nor do they have a monopoly on truth. Yeah. Like, no one has the whole truth. No one has all, no one understands all the love. It's just not.
No, we can't.
So, like I said, both can be love. I think love can be flawed. I think love is a projection of us. I think it does exist independent of our species. I think it exists in the voles. But beyond that, I think love is imperfect because we are. It's a projection of our deepest empathy for one another. And I think that can deeply be flawed. People are emotionally compromised when they're in that much love. That's why we don't allow people in love to make decisions on other people's behalf in a professional setting. Is because they're emotionally compromised. They're not thinking rationally. So based on that process, we know that is flawed. So to me, it depends.
Wow. Well, I know one thing, bro. I love you. And I love you, and I really appreciate you sitting down and just hashing out this love issue, man. Because I know that for us, we need love. We need love, and we need to love each other. We need to love the people that we don't know. We need to love our enemies. We need to, you know what I'm saying? The thing is like, I think if we as a society decided to start loving people more than being maybe reactionary with our emotions, I think we'd be better off.
But the people that you love have the greatest capacity to hurt you. You know that, right?
I'm aware.
Because if you have no skin in the game, if you don't love them at all, you don't care what happens to them. Yeah. But when you do love them, you hate to see them destroy themselves. Yeah,
that's exactly true.
That's part of my problem. I care about these people, and I watch them hurt themselves on a constant basis, and it bothers me. It bothers me a whole lot, and I'm just like, if you just come on, like,
it should.
I'm just.
The thing is, we gotta find a way through love to figure out how to help these people in our lives. Wherever they are, we gotta tell them we're here for them. We gotta communicate our expectations, their wants, their needs, and all that stuff.
One more thing. just because you love them does not mean that there's any sense of reciprocity and all that. So you can love them all you want,
Wow.
and they could still hate you.
That's true. That's true.
So,
well,
because I think Martin Luther King loved everybody. I said I think Martin Luther King loved everybody, and you know, there's quite a few people who hated him.
There's quite a few people that did hate him. That's true. All right, I'm gonna end it. All right. Well, that is episode 1, Love, from the Dialectic Duo. Your co-host Joshua Michael
and your co-host Jared Knight.
Hey, we love you. Good night. Thanks for joining us.
I'm learning to love you. No, man.
All right, that's good. Okay.